Sam Tribble here with Strength Project. Today we're going to be using our natural environment to go over different tumbling skills. The first one we're going to start off with is front tucks. Now these guys are just starting to get the hang of their front tucks, and so we're going to be going over proper technique for the type of surfaces that you're on. So if you have a spotter and understand the technique that you want to use, that's probably your best bet for being safe when you're outdoors. And outdoors is great because we have things like a natural sand pit here. We have sloped areas, so we have inclines, declines, we have benches to work off of. So it makes a great gym, and you don't always have to go to a gymnastics facility or anything like that, but it is important to know the technique for what you want to accomplish and really understand the surface that you're on. If you know those two things, then you're good to go. Okay, so some real basic things that you want to have first are a forward roll. If you can't quite get in and coordinate that roll to grab the knees and it's just open on the ground, when you get in the air, chances of grabbing your knees are going to be less likely. So you want to know that that muscle memory is just there. If you start to rotate, you like to know right where the knees are to pull them in to help your rotation. And you want to have, hopefully, maybe a stretch forward roll. We're going to show you all these things, a handstand forward roll, and a dive roll. So if you have those few elements as a prerequisite, and then again, maybe a spotter or a soft area to throw your front tuck into, then you're good to go. Okay, so we're going to combine two things, and this is what we'd call a candlestick roll up, and also we're going to turn that into a stretch forward roll. This is pretty much overlooked when the average person tumbles because they don't really understand the application, but the application is understanding where a handstand phase is in a rotation. So if you know where that handstand phase is, that's where all the twisting is going to happen eventually when your front tuck is good enough. But if you don't know where the handstand phase is, then two things happen. One, you don't create an area of 20 degrees or so within that handstand to twist the flip, and also it takes 360 degrees before you know where you are in the air. But if you know where you are every 180 degrees, then the chances of being lost, either forward or backward, are very slim. So we want to create that handstand phase. We want to know where vertical is in the middle of our flip. So this is a very easy way to do that. So for this one, I need to stretch out a little bit further, but you'll notice I hit this position first. Yep, good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to progress from is we're going to go handstand forward roll, and you're going to see some of the same positions we just went over. We're going to be using all those techniques. We're going to know where the handstand is. We lower down through that candlestick position, and then we'll be able to grab the knees and help facilitate the roll. So you kind of see how all these things come together. So you should see this handstand, candlestick, and then roll. Long extension through his body until he actually rolls. Better, good. Alright, so we've got all that down. We're going to turn this into a dive roll, which again, you should see some of those same positions happening with an extension and then that smooth roll up. Go onto your hands and knees for a moment. Okay. So, we're removing his ability to use his lower half of his body, so he understands what it feels like for a good takeoff. On the dive roll, you should be in this position and then throw to dive roll. Like this and here. Boom. So it's just like this. It's from here, and then you're going to snap it forward. Okay. And so if I were to stand, I would bend my body this way, like this, and snap into the roll. If you look like this when you get ready to do the roll, you lost all the snap. Yeah. And that's where your front flip comes from, this throw, not this throw. One of the most important things I can say is the last drill that we did, the dive roll, and learning how to isolate the upper body so that when you call snap up and your body goes from the arch to a contraction around hollowed position into the front flip, that you're comfortable with that. Because even with all the progressions we gave, if you're comfortable with that last one, that's what's going to help your front flip the most. Really the understanding of that. So you're going to see the correction that Drew made and how that translates right into the front flip. Yep. Nice. Okay, so here's a few tips on spotting that front flip. You notice I'm getting way in here, so as soon as he leans forward, if he's in the proper position at all, he's gonna roll into my arms. And because he does that, even if he does nothing else beyond that, I can still help divert him away from his head. And that's probably the most important thing we want to do, is just keep our buddies off their head. So the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hand and I'm putting it on his arm so that when he tracks forward, I can help facilitate that rotation if I need to, but I'm also helping him keep his head and his focus up instead of looking down at the ground. And so by these two things, I can help rotate him around. When this arm comes around, my other hand is on his back, so I can help place him on the ground. Chest up. Right now, like that muscle memory isn't quite there, so as soon as you took that linear motion into it, everything was looking down here. Yeah. But that's okay, because we'll make a few changes and you're gonna like see the difference.
Okay.
Like all that over rotation was because you couldn't exhaust the linear motion. You had so much run into it without the proper set. It just all went into distance. But if you're in the right position, that little step you took would have all been converted into height and rotation.
Oh!
Nice.
Woo!
Yes. In our street tumbling series, we're going to be covering ways that you can progress outdoors, outside the gym, using minimal amount of equipment, just you and your partner and whatever surroundings you have, so that you can safely progress to harder street tumbling skills. If you're looking for tumbling, looking for a strong foundation, and you don't know where to start, you're an adult, a lot of gyms don't have classes specifically, they have open gyms, but maybe not something with instruction where you can get a foundation. I'm at the San Diego Circus Center 3 days a week, so you're welcome to come on down and we'll have a great session.